Hey guys, welcome to another video. This week I'm going to be doing something a little different and showing you my design process. I'm going to be making some t-shirts for some teddy bears, but first I have to make a design. I'm starting with Adobe Illustrator and this font called Willow Alice. Once I have the text that I need, I'm just going to create outlines and ungroup the letters. That way I can adjust the spacing and the sizing of the letters to match what I need for the design. In this case, I felt that the letter S was a little bit small, and the letter G had a descender that I needed to kind of reel in. That way I could put the words big and sis a little bit closer together. And since this is a calligraphy script font, that does mean adjusting some of the connecting lines for the letters. After I have all the letters spaced out and sized the way I want them, I'm just using the shape builder tool to connect the letters so that they're all one piece, with nothing overlapping between the letters. And then moving on to the rest of the design, I am going to be making these letters sit in the middle of a sunflower, so just building the middle of that sunflower first, adjusting some of the stroke size around the letters. I'm also going to make sure that the stroke is set so that it only shows up on the outside of the guidelines. Usually I wouldn't put a stroke on text, but in this case it's going to act as a separation between the letters themselves and the sunflower. The whole time I'm making this design, I do have to keep in mind that I am going to be using a vinyl cutter to cut it out, and that does mean a couple extra steps involved in this, like using the shape builder tool to connect pieces that overlap, but also making sure that there's separations between the colors so that I don't accidentally overlap the vinyl when I'm transferring it to the t-shirts. Once I have the petals figured out for the sunflower, I just have to make a couple more adjustments to the stroke widths, and also some of the overlaps between the letters, like the little heart over the I. I also want to fill in any of the really small gaps in the letters, just so that the vinyl cutter won't end up cutting out teeny tiny little pieces for those. The last thing I'm going to do to finish these up is actually rasterize the images and then trace them in color, expand the trace, delete the white, and that way all I'm left with are the shapes of the letters, petals, and the other pieces of the sunflower. I am also going to be cutting these colors out separately, so I will have to separate them and save them out as SVGs, import them to my cutting software, and ultimately use the vinyl cutter to cut them out. But it's important that I also reverse the image before I do any of that, mostly because I don't want to forget. But with the design out of the way, I'm just going to skip ahead and get to the crafting. So I'm putting down a towel because I don't have an ironing board set up at my studio, but I'm also getting out the iron. Just because these are so small, there's no reason why I need to use my heat press for this. And I'm using the cotton setting. I'm first just going to iron out the shirts. I just want to make a crease at the bottom where I'm going to fold them back up. Now I'm just going to iron the top portion of the shirt where I'm going to be putting the design, that way it's flat. And I do have to weed the vinyl, which means using this ridiculous dentist looking tool to pull out the pieces of vinyl that I don't want to be part of the design. Once I have the vinyl weeded, it's just time to iron on each color individually. It only takes about 10 to 15 seconds to transfer the vinyl. When I'm doing this process, I am putting a Teflon sheet over top of the shirt before I iron. That way I don't leave any marks on the shirt or get the transfer sheet stuck to my iron. And because this is using high heat, be very careful when removing those Teflon sheets because they do get really hot. And when peeling off the transfer sheet, wait for that to cool a few seconds before going in and peeling it off. I'm just going to finish transferring this big cis design, and then I'm going to move on and do the same thing with the little cis design. And that's pretty much going to be it for this craft project. If you want to check out the finished t-shirts on the bears, I'll have photos over on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please check out some of my other craft videos. And I'll see you next week.